Welcome to the Self-Evident Podcast. It's Friday morning. You got Mike. You got Massey. Oh, easy. All right, Massey, we're going to get his camera all set up because, you know, his camera.
We all make mistakes and then we all get fired.
Yes. So, all right. Welcome, guys. It is Friday morning. It is 10 a.m. You're tuning back in with us, and we've got a great one for you.
Come on now.
Oh, man. What timeliness. It's so timely, and you'll find out why later on. But do not forget to go to theselfevidenttruth.com. Get yourself some merch.
What the heck you waiting for?
What you waiting for? What you waiting for? Okay? Get a shirt. Get a hat.
All the things.
All the things. Become a member. Don't forget that. You can become a Torchbearer member. We do have the matching grant going. We're a little over halfway. Come on, guys. Sign up. Be a part of the mission. Become part of our family. Be part of us and help us get to where we need to go to change this culture in this country. That's what we're out for, man. We're here to do it. So also, we have a members only section that is coming online for you. And so if you are already a torchbearer, this is for you. This gives you access. We're going to have a bunch of content for you that is useful. We got different levels, and it's cool. So anything else? I think I covered all of it. What else we got?
I think this title deserves a little more flair. I should have said quit supporting Target, support elsewhere. No, I'm serious.
Down
but like,
with Target.
Yeah, down with Target, man. Like down with all this mess. I think we're seeing today more and more the apprehension, and you're seeing people. What I love is, you know how the media is saying this is just the direction we're going.
Mm-hmm.
And every sermon now is like, oh my gosh, we're losing our culture. But you're seeing stocks fall because the people aren't for this.
Right.
You can keep saying this is doom and gloom, but it's not. I really believe God is resurging his people. And you're seeing it by the pocketbook. You're seeing people say no mas, right? And we have alternatives now in the public that you're not even made aware of. And it's really ridiculous, actually, if you peel back the curtains. There's so many things that are the alternative that we're not even being told about. And there's a reason for that. There's so many other things out there that you could be doing, especially supporting local, man. Like support a local business instead of going to the big box shops, all these other things. But man, we got a show for you today, dude. It's gonna be good.
We do. And here we go.
And she's amazing. I mean, Christina's, yeah. She's like the cheerleader we all need.
Right? I always feel better. I feel better about myself when she talks.
She's laughing, but it's the truth. She's got that like vibe about her. I'm like, you just picked me up by being around. You know, it's like, dang, and that's a lot to pick up. You know what I'm saying? Anywho's, we are so excited you're here, guys. Go ahead and share, comment on this video. Make sure you put your comments down, and we do respond to these. If you guys have show topics, we'd love to hit them.
Come on,
we do it all the time. We just hit. We're gonna hit another one on.
That one got brought up. We hit it.
Yeah,
we nailed it.
But still, like, there's a lot of things happening demonically we want to talk about. So give us the rundown, and we'll do it for you.
All right, easy. We got our timer. We're ready for timers.
I'm getting it. Our camera died.
Died. Oh, your camera.
That's fine.
Okay.
We are ready.
All right,
3,
count us down.
2, 1, go.
Here we go. It is official. Ron DeSantis has officially announced his campaign for president using Twitter. He announced on Twitter in an online conversation with Elon Musk. Now, critics are saying that a bunch of technical difficulties hampered the moment. Musk attributed that to strained servers because so many people were trying to listen to the audio-only event. Now, DeSantis did raise over $1 million in his first hour.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, we at Self-Evident are officially announcing our campaign for president.
Me and Mike
watch the dollars roll in.
Yeah, me and Mike are president of the United States. You know, I would actually do that job if we understood what that job really was.
Right. If the number one thing out of our mouth was, I can't do that.
That's right.
I can't do that.
We're giving the power back to the states. We're not going to encroach on your liberty anymore. We're just going to actually do what the president is supposed to do, you know, and allow the Congress to do its job and let the Supreme Court do its. I mean, if I would totally do it just to reform it, just to say no more. You know what I mean? But then all of a sudden people would be like, well, then Who's gonna fix it? Who's the one who just asked, who's the one who just asked the question, right? It's up to us. It's up to our local. So to me, this whole national talk, it's so crazy how far this has gotten in our political discourse and dialogue. It's insane, right? Now we have to have confidence in leadership for sure, but you know, this DeSantis stuff, there's a lot of stuff coming out about him too, guys. So you got to really do your homework and research. I mean, of course, President Trump has his issues. DeSantis has his issues, and this is going to be an interesting one, man, because the Iowa poll has Trump ahead 3-1.
Yep.
So like, you're seeing a lot of this confusion happen. I wish he wouldn't have run. I've said this before. Trump's going to eviscerate him because that's just the kind of guy Trump is. He's a pit bull. I'm not even for that. I'm just saying he's a pit bull.
And Trump's got a massive faithful. Now, I think where DeSantis could come through is on the independents and the moderates. Both of them are going to come out of this bloody. And it's do your research. You know us, we care about the principle of the matter. It's not the man. And one thing I fear about the whole DeSantis thing is you're just going to replace your savior Trump with your savior DeSantis. Don't go down this road again. Okay. Figure out the principle, figure out the conviction, stand on those, not on a person. All right. Number 2. Social media is bad for you? Say it ain't so. New report from the U.S. Surgeon General just came out saying that there seems to be a historic surge in mental health issues in teenagers and college students.
No way.
What? Adolescents. Oh, it gets worse.
Where did they get that from?
Adolescents who spend more than 3 hours per day on social media face double the risk of mental health issues, including depression and anxiety. 8th to 10th graders now average 3.5 hours a day on social media, while up to 95% of youth between 13 and 17 report using a social media platform, with more than a third saying they use it almost constantly.
Oh, man. Like, this is like, okay, so I deleted Instagram and Facebook before I even read this, because Mikey does such a great job of mapping out what we're doing.
Oh,
but so just because I see the time wasting that it does, and I had to get rid of it, so I have it on my computers. But when I'm at home, I don't want to do that anymore. And you know what, dude? Yesterday I spent time by the window looking out at the sun, and it just like I just sat for a minute, and I'm like, man, peace. I don't have to think about anything else, right? But you're seeing these young people, and I was thinking about this morning. They're saying nowadays bullying creates suicide. No, depression does. What made them depressed? Me calling them names doesn't do anything. It's already an inward thing because of how they feel about themselves and where they're not getting attention, all these other things.
So good.
How does that happen? You see it. You see it on these platforms, dude. It's killing kids.
Bro, and when I fall down the YouTube rabbit hole, you and I were talking about this.
Yeah.
The shorts, especially the ones that are like, this is how to be successful. This is how to grow wealth, blah, 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 blah. I come away thinking, man, I'm failing in life.
Dude, that's so good.
Poor,
that's so good that you're saying that, because you kind of feel like, man, why haven't I achieved this yet? And you know, I look at Pastor Todd,
right,
and how far he's 20 years ahead of me, right, as far as age, and where he's at. He's like, I actually started later than you in creation, in wealth creation.
Right.
It's like, dang, if he's that far, how far we could go. But we're looking at the wrong example
exactly
at the now, instead of like the process to get there.
And it'll eat you up if you consume that hour after hour. You compare yourself to these people and you think that's how everybody is, and I'm the lone one out. The moral of the story, get off social media. Okay.
And ain't doing nothing for you.
Nah. Number 3,
go be social instead of being social media.
Ooh, call to action for the day. Number 3, a bonus soccer minute. We might hit the ceiling. The date is rapidly approaching, everybody, and we don't have a debt ceiling deal yet.
Camera here.
Without the
We're gonna die. Okay, go on.
Okay. Republicans have been playing hardball with the Democrats for once and seem to be in driver's seat on negotiations. Everybody who's ever voted Republican knows that's such a true statement.
Yeah.
Right now, the Treasury will have as little as $10 billion on hand by June 2nd. Boy, wouldn't that be a good problem to have? Perhaps $2 billion by June 9th. Treasury rarely has cash balances below $25 billion. Democrats are starting to fillet each other over the issue. Seems to be a big dust up with the entire negotiations. And it just came out, Biden's taking a vacation for Memorial Day weekend. Congratulations, Democrats. It's what you wanted.
Well, here, go. Yeah. Yeah, he said it all. I don't need to add.
Yeah.
But we're on this, guys.
what
Go
more
ahead.
is
Again,
there?
share the video. Thank you for doing what you're doing. Thank you for sharing. You go on SoundCloud right now that don't see our faces. We love you. We'd love to hear from you. We're getting tons of streams everywhere, which is really nice.
SoundCloud's been
SoundCloud's
popping,
killing
man.
it, dude.
Popping.
And we're in what, 28 countries, 27?
Something like that.
Yeah, it's
27,
pretty
28.
awesome.
Yeah.
So thank you for listening to us. If you're from España, I don't know Spanish, but I got the accent. So
that's all that matters.
And Germans,
Willkommen.
yeah, Russians,
welcome.
And every one of you, hi. Okay,
Hi.
so here we go.
Anybody got the British? Hello.
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 Hello, mate.
That's all we got.
That's
Australian.
dude.
Oh,
All right.
well,
Let's bring her on.
All right,
oh,
bring
same
her
thing.
on because I want her to hear these facts before we get into it. So we're bringing in Christina Werner, SVP of partnerships and events at Publicsq. Now, Christina, I want you to just listen to this quick. People seem to be complaining about businesses, right? After all, those businesses are supporting issues that we don't like. And the boycott train is in full force. So Bud Light, number one on the list. Sales have plunged nearly 25% in the latest week. They've been dropping for the past 6 weeks. This is after attempting an ad campaign with a transgender influencer. The move backfired horribly for Bud Light. They've lost $110 million in sales volume year to date compared to the same period last year. Target is now in the crosshairs, having set up massive pride displays with plenty of merchandise that celebrates LGBTQ issues, markets especially to kids. They've lost almost $10 billion in value in the past week. LA Dodgers decided it was a good idea to partner with a drag group that centers their entire shtick around mocking Christians and Catholics. They caught massive flack and disinvited the group. Then they turned around and changed their mind. And North Face just put out an ad with a drag queen gay man celebrating Pride Month. So gear up for that. And oh, by the way, Calvin Klein is now advertising bras with men. So they're not the only one. But why are we covering all of this? Because of our next guest, who this company we love. And you may notice on our countdown, we put the ad, we put the promotions up. Publicsq. This platform is for you guys. We're going to push this platform because this is a platform built to provide you listings of businesses that hold conservative values, show you locally the businesses you can go with good conscience to support. Their values pro-life, pro-family, pro-freedom. And they've actually just agreed to go public as well. So
Everybody,
welcome, Christina Werner.
Come on. Hey!
You guys are the best. I'm sitting back here laughing so hard. I'm like, Christina, pull it together. You guys, I think you have do you have too much fun? Is that allowed?
I don't know if we have enough fun.
We got to turn it up to 11.
One of the things so we know this, the joy of the Lord is our strength, right? So through all the policies and the political stuff and the constitutional stuff we talk about, plus Bible stuff, it's like, dude, if I don't have joy, what am I doing, right? So that's why. And I was talking about you, dude. You guys got to meet this woman in person.
Absolutely,
she is literally. She walks around with like pom-poms and no, I'm serious. She's the best cheerleader ever. She's like, oh my gosh, look at everything. You know, I'm over there like tired. And I'm like, wow, this lady gives me joy. Like she gives me energy.
I gotta tell this. So when we're at the homeschool convention, we started to get to know her. And she comes over to our booth and is just raving about all of it. Like, you guys are amazing. I love this. It's like, you make us feel good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, you guys are amazing. And I do absolutely love what you do. So, I love to be a cheerleader, but I'm really only going to cheer on things that I actually genuinely adore, love, want to champion, want to support. So it's a beautiful thing being a part of Publicsq because we get to see so many nonprofits, churches, small businesses that are taking to choose the stance. They're standing up for their values. They're businesses that share our worldview. And so we just want to help people shift the power structure back to we the people, support these local small businesses, support these nonprofits, support what you guys are doing. Because, for instance, what you're doing is huge. We are all the arms and the body and the legs, right? We're all doing our own thing, but we need to know how to find each other, how to connect, how to support, give our resources to people like you, not those woke corporations. So we're here to help.
Man, I just love the mission of you guys. Like
Yeah.
it just totally speaks to me because we have a lot of conversations about the free market and supporting local businesses and all of that. Like you guys have put the rubber to the road.
I think too, like you guys have filled a valuable niche because like
Right.
everybody tries to figure out what else we can do. So many of us who go out in public speak, we'll bring up the issues with no solutions. Now we can say, buy my book, all these other things. All that does is really inform people in a lot of ways. And I'm not knocking that. It informs, but then people are still paralyzed and they're like, what do I do? Now, we've made it a plan here at the ministry to give people calls of action, points of action. In June, we're actually asking everybody just attend one school board meeting, go attend one town council meeting, county council meeting, go figure out what they do there and then see, okay, I can plug in here. I can go speak. I can hit these issues. I can do. So like going out and do those things. But this platform here, what really amazed me about it was you can actually make your wallet talk. Yeah. You just saw the losses happen to all these companies. Now Ford went, it's like this whole, did you see the Ranger commercial? They came out with a brand new Raptor that was all wrapped in the transgender stuff next to the real Raptor. So it's like, how do you put a 6.2 liter motor in a, how do you transgender? What is it? An electric? So
we're here.
Yeah, no. So you're seeing these companies lose money, but it's because of platforms like yours that really get people that they feel that sense of, yes, I'm doing something. I can actually put my money to something and it actually works. So can you tell us how this whole thing like came about? Because that's a huge step to take because we're all like, how do we fix this? How do we, what's one actually physical step we could take to do it?
Yeah, the idea came about it was actually a long time ago. So good friend of mine, Michael Seifert, who's the CEO of Publicsq, I worked with him volunteering at a Christian camp in Northern California with my husband and some other friends that are a part of Publicsq now. And he had this idea. It kind of stemmed back to he had a faith-based political podcast that he kept noticing two issues. People would contact him and say, gosh, I just feel so alone. I feel like I'm so alone in my community. I'm the only one. And he's looking at the stats and he's like, no, you're not. You're not the only one in your community that voted the way you vote or think the way you think or has the worldview that you have. Actually, even in Southern California where we live, there's probably the majority of people in your community actually feel that way. You've just been felt like you need to be silenced, or there's these small, loud voices that are just, above everything else. And so you feel like, why, who am I to actually take a stance? But when you sit down at a table or you're at your workplace and the one person says, well, I'm actually pro-life, you know what it does? The other 2, 3, 4 people at that table get this courage of like, oh yeah, so am I. And they feel like they can finally take a stance and say something. So that was one issue. People feel alone, but they're really not. So how do we make people feel and realize like, no, you're actually the majority. Right. This Judeo-Christian, pro-life, pro-America, pro-freedom value, like, nope, this is the majority of America. So that was one issue. The second issue, during his podcast, he would get asked questions all the time. Okay, well, I know Nike is blatantly like, the CEO even came out and said he's a company of China and for China. They're okay with sweatshops in China. We know that, but where's an alternative? So then he's doing research like, well, Nike, let's see, New Balance, supported a little bit of this better, so he started doing the research. There's got to be more brands, more companies that actually align with our values. And how do we shift our dollars to these these better businesses instead of these large crazy corporations? So those two things. And I think what set it off is he was driving past a Chick-fil-A. This was like maybe 2014, and it was the boycott Chick-fil-A day.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't noon, it wasn't 10 a.m. So it's not like, this high traffic time for breakfast or lunch, but there's a line around the block of people going to get a darn chicken sandwich in, whatever time of the day it was, just because they saw their values stood up for. There were like 4 people with their little picket sign, all upset that, whatever it was, they're for marriage between a man and a woman, and they're a business, and that's the value that they have. They live in America. They're allowed to have that. We actually even know a friend who is gay, and he decided to go buy a chicken sandwich that day because you know what he said? It's a good freaking chicken sandwich. That's okay that they don't agree with me.
And they're forcing them to that. They're forcing them to do that. Like, we're not picking the fight here. You're the
No,
one throwing it
no.
in my face saying that I'm wrong, and they have to stand for something.
Totally. So he saw that and he goes, wait a minute. When people stand up for our values, we come out to support. So
Right.
it was kind of like an accumulation of all that, pandemic had hit. And he goes, we just need to start. So to be honest, I'm not a tech developer. Michael's not a tech person. We were just a group of friends, his idea about a group of friends that just said, we need to start and do something. And so he really just jumped in, and it's honestly been like building the airplane while it's in the air. But look, this is all God timing, because as soon as we started, now we have, we started just in San Diego, California. We test piloted this like MVP product, like a minimal viable product of an app in San Diego. And we said, is this going to work? Are people going to drive an extra 5 miles to support a business that shares their values? Are people going to pay possibly an extra $5, $10 to go support a business, maybe let's say that makes their stuff made in America?
Right.
Or they make it right there at home. And sure enough, people will. Not everyone. There's still the convenience aspect, but some
Sure.
people will go out of the way to support a better business.
Sure.
So it started there. Then we had all these businesses that have adhered by our core values. One of them is we believe in the Constitution. We believe in America. So these are businesses that chose. What do you know? In America. Isn't that crazy? Right. So now we had a bunch of.
How dare you?
How
I
freaking
know.
dare you support the founding document of America?
I
I don't know
man.
what you're thinking.
Golly.
Well, isn't it crazy that that's controversial, being in
Right.
America? But, so we're in the middle of a pandemic, and now we have all these businesses that don't discriminate. So people would reach out and be like, wait a minute, you have businesses that aren't going to ask me about my medical status. They don't care, do they? No, they sure don't. So
Right.
it kind of, excelled us super fast. Then we launched nationwide or finished that nationwide launch just 11 months ago and are already the nation's largest list of pro-life, pro-freedom, pro-family
Love
businesses.
it.
Can you
Thanks to
tell them
people
too?
like you.
Yeah, tell them too. What you guys are like number 3 trending on apps, right?
Okay, so my jaw yesterday. This was crazy. Yeah, so in the App Store yesterday, in the shopping section, we showed up as number 3, which was right above Amazon.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
You guys
And then
have to
there's
understand how
Nike.
awesome that is.
Yeah, Nike's below that, and Walmart and Target, all of that, right? And then today, earlier this morning, we were 4th overall in the App Store,
Oh,
which
that's so cool.
holding back my tears, but pretty amazing. And all that shows, yes, the app is free. It's free for businesses to be on. It is free for the consumer to join, but it really just shows you, especially the moms of America and the people that are shopping all the time, they are over this Target
Right.
woke nonsense, corporate America working against our values. They don't like it. The vaccine mandates, the cancel culture, the indoctrination, the virtue signaling, and then Target just threw it up over the edge.
Oh my gosh. And you watch this happen time after time after time. And it's like, when will these companies understand that they're shooting themselves in the foot by jumping into this? And you mentioned something that I don't think most people realize. I'm not being sexist here.
I think you are.
Okay, maybe a little. Women are a much bigger group of spenders than men tend to be. They tend to
Really?
make more of the purchases.
Well, I can agree.
I plead the fifth. But and what you just pointed out is exactly right, that women are the school board meetings.
Yep.
Who's there like fighting back? Moms, right?
Mhm.
Who spends the money? Moms. So this becomes an avenue where all of a sudden they say, I don't have to go to Target anymore.
Right.
I can get my stuff without having to support these crazy companies.
So quick question, Christina. There's a guy named Paul. He just asked us, are there any tech companies who aren't woke, liberal, hostile to our faith and values?
And we're putting you on the spot.
We are
but
putting you on the spot, but I just figured I'd ask
have you come across any like tech companies and Paul, if you want to, is there a company specifically or an industry specifically you're looking for as well? But Christina,
Are you saying besides Publicsq?
Yeah.
Yes.
Aside from, I think too, like, computer companies, phone
Oh,
companies.
yeah.
There's like
You know what's
Patriot Phone and all these other things.
sure. you know what's really awesome is you can go onto our app and you can go into the search bar. Now, again, let me just back up and say we've been building this app from scratch. So we're not Facebook with tens of billions of dollars, but what we've done in just the short amount of time that we've had is, in my opinion, insanely miraculous. So
Yeah.
now you can go to the search bar, you can type in there and you will find, actually just flew to Florida. I'm in the same great state as these amazing guys. Hi. And on my way out, I dropped my daughter's computer off at a company called Tech Kahunas. They are on Publicsq. The best thing that I know about them is like just high integrity. He's a hard worker. I trust him with this computer, which has valuable information in it, and it's priceless to be able to find companies like that. So there's companies locally that you can find on the app, you know, that share your values that you can, you know, send to, but then you can also go to the online portion on Publicsq, publicsq.com or app. And you can, there's absolutely tech companies on there for sure.
And I want to commend you guys of, it's inspiring to watch you guys and what you guys have done, right? Because like you said, you're building the plane as it's flying, you know, and it all started with just like this idea of like, why don't we have this?
Let's answer the bell.
Yeah, like
You know what I mean?
let's just step forward and do something. And it can be very daunting because we tend to see a project like this and think, oh, it had the biggest brains in Silicon Valley and millions upon millions of dollars of investment. And, you know, this is a Zuckerberg style project. It's just not the case. It was people who said, no, we want to provide an alternative in the industry and we're going for it. And I want that as an inspiration to everybody, is you could fill that niche and who knows where it goes. And I think the biggest thing we do to ourselves is we say, oh, I could never do that. So we won't even take the step. And I want to commend you guys for you took that step, you know?
Thank you. Well, it's almost like you know, when someone's, well, do we have a baby? Are you ready? Are you really ready? Are you ever ready? Like, you know, I don't know. You just jump in and you start. And yeah, did we have it all figured out? Do we still have it all figured out? Absolutely not. We have stayed super steadfast to our mission, but super open-handed with, Lord, you tell us.
Yeah.
And we have had to make tons of pivots. We actually started with, we used to have more of a directory locally that showed you your school board, that showed you your local officials, because we think it's very important. If you want to change the country, it literally starts in your backyard. You got to shift your local. I mean, I'm preaching to the choir here.
But
I know
it honestly, and I just got to tell you this, it is the Lord, because you're confirming several conversations Massey and I have been having
over the years. We've been talking about local politics, things like that for years.
It all starts local.
It really does. Our favorite word is pivot. We have to pivot.
Pivot. You just got to move. And the fact that you're talking about local, and I want you to continue with this, but we've been very focused on this idea of you got to change the local in order to move upwards, right?
100%.
And so we have a program that we're about to roll out that is going to give people the opportunity to do that, to change the local culture through government affairs. So continue. Sorry.
No, I know we totally agree. And so from us, we're thinking, how do we help impact our local communities, you know, and obviously shift where the dollars are being spent. But that was just something big on our heart. So we even tried to add those resources into the app. But then when it came down to it, we realized people aren't going to us to find those resources. If they want, they can go to those resources are already out there. If they want to try to find their local school board and, you know, city council and all that stuff, they were coming to us for the marketplace. So we had to drop a bunch of work that we had started, but that's okay. Lord says, pivot, go here. You guys are the marketplace. This is what's not out there. We don't know where local businesses that support freedom are, but you guys are building this network. So you need to focus on that. So we did. Okay.
I love it.
This is awesome.
I know.
It just feels like, okay, this is what would be the word? This is that moment David shows up and sees Goliath. Now we all know David is the archetype of Christ. Goliath is the enemy. But think about this. David shows up. Everybody's afraid. What do we do? What do we do? King Saul's like, I don't do? Right? David's like, who is this guy? Like, who's this uncircumcised Philistine? Fills the gap, goes out and gets 5 stones and does his thing. You know what I mean? So it's like it, and I keep thinking about this. Why did he have to go to the water to get stones? Remember this whole water conversation?
Yeah.
Why did he have to go to the water? Why were they smooth stones? Why couldn't they be edgy? You know, and God had poignant things. Those rocks had to have been excellent. Why smooth? Because they had to fly in the air. They had to be pointed, right? They were good. But just seeing these needs filled, just it like does something in my heart where it's like, yes, we are gaining ground. And I think too, it gives people less excuses not to get involved and actually do something. Because a lot of people do that too. They'll pitch it on us saying, well, it's just doom and gloom. You know, it's just this. It's like, dude, this is like so perfect where we're at as a country for God to move. This is the most perfect place we can be right now. This is exactly what we've been asking for. God, move. Now he's saying, okay, I want to move through you now.
Right. And I get so tired of this. Oh, it's all going to collapse. It's all going to fall apart. So you might as well try. I mean, there's nothing to lose, you know, like here we go, you know, and you think about these stories of overcoming, these stories of great wins. Yeah, it took crazy odds. You know, you look at the greats, man, they were fashioned through massive odds against them. And that's the fun of it. You know, you look at a Churchill, he had not just Germany looking at him. Right. He had his own country that was divided on him. People like, don't do this. You can't get involved. Stay away. Blah, blah, blah. You're doing it all wrong. And he just kept pushing forward. And it's like, man, I want to be like that. I want to be able through all the odds to just keep going and push for the vision.
Well, I remember when we sat in our office in the very beginning and Michael said to, you know, our small little core team, he goes, statistically, what we're trying to do in the tech space, we have a 4% chance of surviving till next year. You go, okay.
here we go.
You know, here we go. But to be honest, years ago, and this is just part of my faith journey, but years ago, me and my family were driving in the car and we actually all just kind of with the kids did this little pinky promise of like, you know, we're all in for God, wherever he has us, whatever we're going to be doing, like, let's just serve the Lord with all our hearts. And to be honest, he has taken us on the most incredible, insane, everlasting adventures since then. So I had zero fear about it. You're like 4% chance, no problem. But if this is what the Lord told us to do and called us to do, like, I'm not worried. I mean, even if let's say something, I'm just not worried. This is like, that's his fault, not mine. You know, if he's just called me to be there, I'm like, okay, Papa, you get to handle it.
Come on.
You know, and it's beautiful. I love not having to live in fear and just getting to have some unabandoned faith and just go.
And this is what tells me that God wants to be involved in every sphere, that God wants to be involved in the details. Because if God didn't care about the business world, the free market world, if God didn't want to help us be what's the word I'm looking for? Clear conscience in everything we do, like he wouldn't invest in this at all. God would tell you, I don't want you in the market. I don't want any of my people in the market. I want you to just stay in the church.
He even said it, dude, in 1 John, love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. For all that is in the world is not of God, right? But then he says, what is in the world? The lust of the flesh, lust of the eyes, and the pride of life. Why would I support a company that supports all 3 of those things like Target? Right. Lust of the flesh, lust of the eyes, pride of life. That's exactly what they support. So you got to really make that conscious decision, right? Like, who are we supporting? Who are we sponsoring? Now, can you get rid of everything? No. I mean, I don't know, unless there's like a better company than, I don't know what Shore supports here, our microphones, but if there was a better company that we knew was supporting godly values, hey, let's go for it, right? And there's many companies that do that as far as music gear and stuff like that. But there's a question on here too, Christina, that I wanted to ask. Carrie Booth.
Yeah, I saw these.
Yeah, it says, does she know if Canada has anything like this? I'm wanting this here. Haven't found anything legit yet.
Well, I have some good news. We first are taking care of our backyard, right? As our goal, right? So we're taking care of our local, our state, our country. So we've started in America. But that being said, if you go to international.publicsq.com, you can wait for our sign up list because, to be honest, Canada, we get so many requests all the time. And so without getting into details, we were like, I think 9 days away from being able to file something eventually to be there, and we were able to file it. So just stay tuned.
Ooh, there we
It's
go.
going to be great, Carrie. It's going to be called Publicsq, eh?
Eh? That's right.
You're going to get your maple syrup from the best square space in the world.
You know,
and ride mooses for free.
You know, you get free moose rides with every bottle of maple syrup here at Publicsq, Canada. Eh?
Well, and I saw a comment too right above that about, you know, about tech and avoiding tech. And I got to say, it's interesting being in the technology space, but being so antithetical to those values. You know, we've had people come in our office that have invested, you know, from Silicon Valley that have invested in all these companies and literally been pushed out because of their Judeo-Christian values. And they look at us and they're like, this is so weird because you guys are just doing it so different and so opposite, even to the point we don't sell user data. So we did research in the beginning of anything that was going to be somewhat like us, you know, like, and I hate to even say these because they're not like us, but like Yelp or Nextdoor or Groupon or this or that. And we looked at the data and the research and how they did stuff, you know, and they were around for 4 or 5 years and then they sold user data. And then that's how they, you know, jumped on board to have revenue. And we just said, nope, that's not what we're going to do. I don't even like calling the people on the app users because we're not using them. Like they're consumers, right? They jump on there to support the businesses and we're here to help support them. And yeah, but it is different being in that tech space because we just run so different compared to what most tech companies do. So,
right. And, you know, and I love that you guys are in such a saturated space. You guys are on the ground floor, but you're obviously you're not on the ground floor anymore. But it does give inspiration to other companies that are like, we want to change this space. We want to provide an alternative, you know, and I think it's something that it catches on. And you guys, what's cool is you guys are kind of you're that exposure element for those companies that what's the called Train, the Nike alternative that you guys have. Yeah, like it looks like high quality stuff. And I was looking, I was like, I need to get some shorts, you know, and it's like, that's exactly what I want to see in it. I need new shoes. Guess where I'm going? I'm going to see what I can find on Publicsq, right. You know?
Yep.
No, I just think, go ahead.
I was going to say Train, Yakima Apparel. I can tell you what I think is so awesome about finding these companies. I wish everyone could just sit and have a conversation with these business owners because it is a transaction, but it's not just a transaction. These business owners on this app, their stories just like, they blow your mind. They're so cool. Like the guy who started Train. I mean, when you hear his story and his heart and the reason why he's doing what he's doing and where he gives and donates to and gives back, you're like, yeah, I want to support you. There's another one, Yakima Apparel. He was just a young kid. He saw that Nike didn't really stand for great values, Adidas, but he was an athlete. So he said, I want there to be a values-based athletic apparel company, you know, that supports God, that supports morals, supports faith, family, all these fun things. And he's phenomenal. And his products actually they're great. They're better than like the Lulu pants that all the girls like. So, you know, you're supporting these incredible business owners with really quality products. And I got to say that to me is huge. I'm not expecting anybody to jump on board just because of the values and leave quality. Quality is important, right? It's a reflection of Christ.
And that's something that just when you scroll through the businesses, it's something that kind of stood out to me was it seems to be these companies have high quality, right? These companies have value. And a lot of times you can tell what the quality is by the promotions, by how they do things, you know, in terms of their marketing and what the product looks like at the finished value. And so I'm not saying that every single company on Publicsq guaranteed to have great quality, blah, blah, but it seems to be a theme with you guys, which is awesome. We've got a couple of questions for our audio listeners. So Jonathan said, let your business owners have a blog section for their businesses. So I don't know if that's something that might be in the works. Looks like yes. Cool. He continued, let them tell us about their background and ethics. And I think that's important too, because it's kind of like a dating profile at that point. Like,
easy. We're not using them.
They're consumers.
We're not
true.
You know,
this is a partnership. We're both 100%.
So I do have a question. I'm a car guy, and when I saw y'all were like in this, what was it, the Sprint Cup or the NASCAR or whatever it was? Like, what
Yes.
happened there? What that was so cool. I love cars. I'm a car nut.
Right.
I got to hear about that. How did that happen?
Okay, well, talk about God stories. I mean, it's just been like one after another. We have a business that's been on the app pretty much from the beginning, and he is a sports media advertiser, big in the NASCAR world, loves what we're doing, and just frustrated. He's actually, so he works with all types of professional sports athletes and businesses. So whether it's baseball, basketball, but now more recently NASCAR, because all these other companies are just taking a knee. And so he was getting super frustrated, like, what the heck? If just, if the teams, if the owner just stood up for their values or didn't, bend this knee over the anthem and all this stuff, like we wouldn't be in this debacle we're in. But the frustration you could feel from him. He's had been talking to me for about a year, and honestly just allowed us and gave us a spot on the car because he believes in it. He was like, like the world needs to see what you guys are doing. America, like, and especially the NASCAR crew, right? He goes, these are your people. They love America.
Sure
They're
are.
going to want to know what you guys are doing. And so, I mean, that was another fun jaw-dropping moment of like, what?
That's so
NASCAR?
cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And they were on a car. It was awesome to watch. And they
Yeah.
are your people, man. Most of them folks are like,
Right.
what's transgender? Isn't that under
Yeah.
the car?
I
Something
mean,
next to the motor?
I'm-
I'm generalizing. I know it's a joke.
I'm going to continue the generalization, but look what happened to Bud Light.
Oh, jeez.
I
Oh.
mean,
They're
you-
using that to
you
fuel the
didn't
new
know your
Ford
market.
truck.
Right? Like
We're using Bud Light to fuel the new Ford trucks.
little message to what's it? InBev. Know your market.
Yeah.
Oh.
Know your market.
Dummies. Anyway, and I'm not trying to be mean about that. It's like you're just a fool. The people, these agendas, they're not working. Look at what's happening with Disney now. You're seeing all these news. I don't know if you can talk about this, but look at all these news sources that are starting to crumble and fold. ESPN now is just dropping shows because they're not going anywhere.
Right.
And it's like you can only put so much money into something before you're like, okay, this is ridiculous. If you ever look on YouTube, we've talked about this. Look at like NBC, CBS, they get like 1,000 views on each video. These people aren't watching this anymore. Nobody's really watching this. Do you see that happening more and more too? And is there anything on Publicsq? Because I mean, I only search on businesses, but like news things that you guys put out there, or is that not something you touch?
No, funny, when we were building, we actually did have a section that was like a feed. And it did have like a lot of news and aggregated stuff and information and the local resources. But then we just sifted. We're like, we just need to get this marketplace done faster, quicker, as soon as we can. So we kind of condensed all that because people can find those resources elsewhere. So we pretty much stuck to the marketplace. Now, we did start with local small businesses. And then a lot of these businesses also had an online presence. So then there's the online tab. We do have things. It's not just what you would think in your mind, just your typical local small business. Churches can be on there. And this is so sad to say, but not every church is pro-life and pro-America, which blows my mind, again, being in America. But, so then we opened it up to churches being on there. There's nonprofits on there. There's media, there's publications. So a media outlet is absolutely, if they want to adhere by our core values, which are basic conservative values, they're allowed to be on there. Now, is it as intuitive to go to the media section, and find them? No, I'm sure eventually we'll work that out where there's the media section's a little better, but right now it's just listed just as if it would be any other business is listed.
Right.
Cool.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
Paul Garner.
Yeah, Paul asked, have you had opposition? He said, like web server. He said, site is down. I went to the site and Paul it says, due to record high traffic, we are currently experiencing interruptions, which is, that's not a bad problem to have.
No.
But, yeah. Have you guys had opposition, like especially vendors or that kind of thing coming against you?
Two fun stories of one of the first businesses that jumped on our app that was super nervous. And the courage he came, that's a fun one. But then also the first pushback we ever had, we had our local newspaper in San Diego called the Union Tribune. They put out an article about Publicsq calling us a threat to public safety because they called us the anti-vax company. You know, we're not anti-vax, we're anti-mandates. I don't care if the person working next to me wants to, you know, it doesn't matter. We don't talk about it actually.
Did you
Right.
put
So
the
they
article
put out
on your wall?
yeah, so they put out this big article about how we're such a threat to San Diego because we have all these businesses that stayed open and they're not enforcing masks and vaccines and all this stuff. Well, the very next day, and this is to the Chick-fil-A point, very next day, we had like 50 businesses call us. Awesome, I want to be a part of that. Me too. How do I get on? How do I get on? You know, and then we had one angry email from an older lady that says, well, great. Now I know all the businesses I will never step foot in ever again. And we're like, you know, if you're that upset that they have the freedom to keep their doors open, they'll probably be okay if you don't want to step into their business
Right.
again. Like, you know,
And there's probably 49 of them you've never supported
Yeah,
anyway
exactly.
or never.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Felicia.
Especially if they're old. I mean, it's like, are you going to go shopping at a hiking store? Probably not. So it's like, just saying, you know.
Yeah, one of the first businesses actually when we were just starting, I want to say he was the third phone call I had. This guy gets on the phone with me and you can just sense his frustration. He was like, oh, like, where's the dad showing up at the school board meetings? Like, how come I go to these rallies and I'm the only dad? And I want to do something. And he's just has this pent up frustration. And then he says, okay, so I want to put my business on this app. But what happens when, you know, someone sees my pin and they throw a brick through my, you know, my building because they realize I'm standing up for these values? And I remember telling him, well, I can't say that that's not going to happen to your store. Most likely it's not. But if it does, can I tell you, we will be there. We will, you know, cover those costs. It'll be a great PR. Actually,
Right.
you'll probably end up getting more support. Well, anyway, fast forward 4 or 5 months later, this guy who was still so hesitant at the time had just crossed that bridge internally, like in his heart. And he's now leading something called Freedom Revival. There were 40,000 people in the downtown streets of San Diego. He's pulling in pastors. He's like leading this whole thing. And you're like, you're not worried about that anymore. But it's just cool to see people go through their journey of like, do I step out in this? Do I not? You know, what happens if I get canceled kind of a feel, or if I get pushed back? And then once people just jump in and they're like, phew, you know, on fire.
And I don't feel like people on the progressive side tend to have that fear of conservatives. Oh, if I stand for something with my business, I'm
Those
like,
conservatives are
conservatives
Yeah.
burn my place down. No, you know, they actually get more afraid of their own side of, if I don't push hard enough, what's going to happen to me? And to the conservatives, especially the conservative business owners, you're not alone, and step out. You know, there's a risk at everything, but we have to show each other that this is possible and that you're not alone. And that means stepping forward, and other people will solidify. I mean, this guy's a perfect example of this.
Mhm.
I don't know if I should. Now he's got 40,000 people following him through the streets of San Diego.
That's it. And I
Yeah.
think that's really where, if you guys could just pay attention to that, that is exactly what courage does.
Right.
That
Mhm.
it's so contagious that when you step out, others will step with you. And even if you're alone, it was attributed to Thomas Jefferson and several others, but he said, one man with God is a majority. You know what I mean? So like there's a sense of where even Washington and Samuel Adams had said, and John Adams, or I'm sorry, I'm losing his name right now. It was one of the Adams boys, but they said, do what you can do and leave the results to God. And you got to leave that
Mhm.
everything on the field. Just talking to one of our people here this morning, you got to leave it out on the field, because when you cross over into the streets of gold, you know what I mean? At least in my heart, I'm like, I just want to know we did everything we knew to do, and we did it well. We did it with like, Lord, we represented you well. We did this well. And if there was anything we didn't do, it's just because I couldn't do it. But you find the things you can't do, God somehow brings someone else in on the back end and says, okay, I'll fulfill that for you here. I'll do this for you here. And so like, it's just like him, like he's using the small in number to go create something like this. And I just so appreciate y'all's platform. And first off, all the love you showed us. I mean, when she was there with her phone and taking pictures and
helping us
putting
out,
up our
set up our thing,
putting up our profile and things like that, we're like, okay, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
You know, but you see, go ahead.
I wear your hat all the time. Love it.
I think it's and again, just when people believe in you, because we are, for us, we feel okay. Like it feels like, because we're not Republican, we don't do that stuff. You know, we're just Christians and we're constitutionalists, and we really believe that there are things on both sides that are messed up, and we got to call that stuff out. But today's populace is Republican or Democrat, so we kind of go against the grain on both sides. Not kind of, we do. But when you see someone say, man, this is it. This is America. This is what the melting pot truly is. There's all this thing coming in. And when you started doing that, it was like, man, you know, that she sees something in us that we see in others. You know, we're always championing something. So we want to thank you, and we appreciate you and your and your platform and your app. And guys, if you have not downloaded the Publicsq app, go onto the App Store and go do it now. And also make sure you follow them on social media, on Instagram, on Facebook and those kind of things. And you're going to see all the stuff that they're constantly putting out, all the business little bios that they do. There's podcasts that they sponsor that help support, and just get out there, and you're going to see more things from them in the future. We're excited. We talked about some things behind the scenes, but we're like, hey, we need an Amazon alternative. When's that going to happen? We need a publishing alternative. When's that going to happen? And you know, she's all like, what
are you guys doing to me?
We can't say nothing, but I mean, it's like, you know, just the fact that they're willing to take that on, that's just awesome. So thank you so much for being a part of what we're doing here. And we love to help as much as we can as well. So
anything we can do, you let us know, Christina.
Well, can I just say to you guys, what you do is so important. So genuinely, when I found out about your ministry, what you guys are doing, how you're equipping your churches, and I think something that is just amazing about who you guys are and what you're doing is you're doing it with excellence. And that's something, again, we talked about for a second before, but I don't expect somebody to, you know, jump ship from their iPhone to go to something that only works part of the time, because nope, sorry, that's not going to work. So especially as believers, to be a reflection of Christ, we need to do things well and do it with excellence. And guess what? People are going to want the product. Doesn't matter if you're, whatever label, Republican, Democrat, this, that. If you have a good product, people are going to buy it. And I actually don't just want the conservative world buying the products. I just want it to be a good product, so everybody in America wants to buy it. And now money is going to a great business owner. You know, so what I love about what you guys are doing is you have solid merch. It's awesome. Like the hat I have just starts conversations all the time. You know, your site's great. You guys just do things with excellence. So I appreciate it.
No, thank you very much. So we're definitely going to have you on again soon. But guys, go out and support them. We want to say thank you so much for coming on today, Christina. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
You're amazing. So, all right, go to Publicsq, guys. Support. We want to say thank you to Christina. Christina, you have a great day. Okay.
Yes, I will. Full of joy, because you know what's not one of the fruits of the Spirit? Seriousness.
Come on. I love it.
It's beautiful.
That's right.
Sarcasm,
love joy.
That's the next fruit.
It is.
Second opinions.
It's one of those things you
3:15.
wish the Lord would have put in there. Sarcasm's the best. I think
Humor.
you got to think, you know, like
God is a God of humor.
Yeah, he is.
Sarcasm's humor.
Yeah.
AKA God sarcastic.
Joy.
All right. Love you. Take care. All right, Christina. See you later.
Thank you, guys.
See you. So guys, as we keep going on, as we move forward, as we do more, you're going to see more of these things come up and pop up. And so if you have not shared this video, please do it. Get it out to as many friends as you can, because look, we can do this. We can do this. You're seeing even alternatives to banks and things like that are coming in, and you need more of that. So guys, go on to theselfevidenttruth.com. Be a part of what we're doing. Sign up for the blog. Sign up for all these other things. Guys, thank you for being torchbearers and supporting us in our ministry. excuse me, I got a frog in my throat. Maybe.
Right.
Or, and also to all those who have supported the matching grant, we are close. We're over halfway now. So please sign up for that. If you guys get an extra check of 50 million, we'll take it. We know what to do. We're just going to go out there and conquer the world because we have to, right? So we got a lot of things to do. So guys, there's a lot going on. Send us your requests. We love to talk about those things. We're not afraid of any topic. And we just love you. Thanks for all the love and support. Again, be sure to go on the website, find out more, sign up for all of our podcasts and all that stuff. So we love you guys so much. We will see you Monday.
All right. Love you guys. Peace.